Join me as I take on the challenge of creating my very own Pottery Barn inspired ghost wreath. Spooky season is my favorite time of the year, and Pottery Barn is one of my favorite places to shop for decorations. But their stuff is not always budget friendly. That's why I love taking on DIY projects like this one. It's a great way to get the same look without that hefty price tag. So if you're looking for a way to elevate your Halloween decor without overspending, you're in the right place. I'll go through all the materials you need, including how to make those ghostly figures, and I'll show you all the techniques for assembling this wreath. This project cost around $40. I'm saving more than half of what I would spend at Pottery Barn. How long is this gonna take? Let's find out. To start, you're gonna need a 24-inch wire wreath frame, some white cheesecloth, about a dozen of these 4-inch foam spears, and I grabbed just a few more just in case, black felt, scissors and fabric glue, a hot glue gun, and some wreath wire. And you'll also want a string of some fairy lights if you want to make this wreath light up, but this part is completely optional. And you can find the list of all the materials I'm using down in the description. So the first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna modify this wreath. Well, I already modified it. What I did is I removed the inner and most outer rings on the wreath. As you can see here, they kind of went up here and down here. I removed those to just give me less of a wreath profile. And the goal now is to attach the ghost spheres on top of these little hooks. I've already modified the wreath. Feel free to try other wreaths out. You can use styrofoam, you can use, pretty much anything else. But I'm gonna use this because I am already knee deep into this purchase. I don't wanna spend any more money. And I'm just committed at this point. First thing we're gonna do to the wreath, after modifying it, is attaching some fairy lights. I'm gonna wire the wreath first with fairy lights, and then I'm going to cover it with the cheesecloth. So when you're attaching your fairy lights, you wanna make sure you know, one, where the battery access is. So this side, I wanna make sure I'm not gluing the side of the back, and where the switch is. And so as long as you know where those are, you can glue this together. I am going to, because I'm gonna access the battery pack, I'm gonna put this on the back of the wreath. I'm gonna put it right here. This way you can still access the fairy lights and glue the battery pack in place. So now I just wrapped up the wreath in, there we go, in the fairy lights. After I secured the battery pack, I looped this, whatever cord is, non-light cord, around the bottom, and then I just weaved it, just kind of crisscrossed it throughout the wreath. I think I did that 3-ish times. The light ended here, so I didn't get to come all the way down for the third loop. How big is this? What do we think this is? This is about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe this is, 6 to 8 inches wide. We're gonna double it up like that. And now we're just gonna drape this over the wreath and kind of secure it in the back here so that it'll almost look like a giant web, but once we put on our ghost heads, it'll all just kind of blend in. So that's what we're gonna do first. We're gonna drape this over. And so I'm taking the top part that I put above the wreath, and I'm just pulling it down underneath the wreath to hook right on top of this hook over here. I'm not even gluing it. And for this base of the cheesecloth that's kind of in the background, we don't need to be precious about what it looks like. So who cares about jaggedy edges? I kind of like that raw look anyways. As you saw me putting the cheesecloth over it, the first layer is on, and now it's time for the ghost heads. So if this were up here, and then the ghost, I don't know, something like this. You can already see it kind of coming together. You see the vision a little bit. I think the first step I'm gonna figure out where the ghost heads are gonna fit, where they're gonna stay. I think this one's gonna go here. Kind of a more 3D effect right here, right? and figure out where they're gonna sit and then hot glue them in their positions. But to cover my ghosts, I found that 2 turns of the cheesecloth is the length that I want, and that's about 11 inches by 9 inches. And each ghost is gonna start off with 1 layer, just like this, because the cheesecloth itself is folded up 4 times, and that is kind of the most that I want to see through it. This is just going to be the base, and we're going to see if that works. So what I'm trying to do here is put glue in the back of the sphere, and I'll just kind of like on the top, a little bit on the sides, and then taking a cheesecloth and sneaking it in and around the ghost, and then massaging the head a little bit here. There we go. You're gonna have to get your hands sticky. And to give you a little sneak peek on the lights, where's the switch? There we go. So this way it's kind of illuminated in the back. I really like that. One of the last pieces for the ghosts is adding that last layer on top of the base cheesecloth. I found that once I unravel the cheesecloth, I found that this length, it looks really good, especially when I double it up like that, and it's gonna drape over each ghost, and it looks a little more raw and a little more wispy, whimsical, you know, a little more, just a touch of haunting. And so width-wise, this is about 9 inches, and length-wise, let's see if I double it up. This is what it's gonna be doubled up. Length-wise, it's 34 inches. So it's 34 inches long. That's gonna be doubled up, 9 inches. I'm gonna do, depending on the ghost, I might either do this way or this way, but I want this kind of raw look to be at the bottom of the ghost, kind of like fringy. So I'm gonna cut 12 more of these and then attach it to the ghost. 1, 2. So this is the tricky part because I need to put it behind the ghost again. And the more that I layer up the cheesecloth, the harder it's gonna be to get in between, at least on the bottom here, these little heads. So I'm gonna keep this, you know, pretty halfway over the ghost, so maybe a little bit longer at the bottom, and then I'm gonna reach over the top here, tuck that in between. This side's gonna be a little harder. Oh, that looks good. And then kind of glue at the back there. Oh, that looks so good. And so that is what I'm going for. Oh my gosh, this is my favorite one. I am so happy with how this is looking so far. This is coming out really, really good. It's the wispy, it's a little haunting. So now we're gonna do the last step, which are the eyes of the ghosts. We're just gonna use some felt. I'm gonna cut out eyes, and we're gonna stick it to them. So when I'm cutting these eyes out, I don't want them to be too big, I don't want them to be small, I want them to be proportionate to the ghosts. So I'm gonna cut out, you know, these little ovals, and I like the eyes on the Pottery Barn ghosts. Like, I like how they're kind of long. Okay, are these somewhat the right size? Yeah, okay. So we're gonna go try this size out on the ghosts. Okay, so here are the eyes. They're gonna go right there. Oh my God. That actually is a good size. You know what? I might take off a little bit. What do we think? They're too long and too wide. size. You have to be a little more. Okay. I think that is good. They're not too much in your face, right? And then with the lights on, where's the switch? Ta-da. Okay, this is the size we're gonna do. And now we have 24 more to go. Well, I'm applying the last eyeballs to this wreath. Oh my God, I'm so excited about this. One. Oh my God. Look at that. So as I was putting the eyes on the wreath, I realized it's the eyes. The eyes bring this wreath together. I am so happy with how this wreath turned out. I mean, look at it. It's so spooky. It has these little wispies all over it. This wreath came out so good. If you're looking for that spooky vibe or something a little more sophisticated, this fits the bill without breaking the budget. This wreath cost about $40. That's half, a little more than half of savings had I bought it at Pottery Barn. It took maybe 3 hours. Yeah, about 3 hours tops. If you enjoyed this DIY project, be sure to check out some of our other craft videos and let me know in the comments what you thought about the ghost wreath. I love it. Do you? If you need a coffee recommendation, one, yes, my mug is from Pottery Barn, circa, I don't know, a couple of years ago collection. And if you want a pumpkin but not so pumpkin coffee, I mix hazelnut grounds with pumpkin grounds. I do 3/4 hazelnut, 1/4 pumpkin. Get this little nutty pumpkin. It's delicious. So good.